One of the most common things I see married men who are struggling with porn tell me is, Frank, my wife is my accountability partner. And every time I hear that, I already know something about their marriage. I know there's tension. I know there's pressure inside that marriage. And the recovery process feels heavy, not just for him, but for both of them. Because here's the truth that most men don't want to hear. Your wife should never be your accountability partner. Now, before some of you get upset or thinking I'm attacking marriage, let me be very, very clear. This episode is not anti-marriage. In fact, it's the complete opposite. Today's episode is about protecting your marriage. Because when your wife becomes the accountability system for a man trying to overcome porn addiction, that relationship starts to feel less like a partnership and more like probation. And that dynamic slowly begins to erode the trust, attraction, and leadership inside that relationship. So in today's episode of The Rebuilt Man, I want to break down why so many men default to making their wife their accountability partner, why this actually damages the marriage dynamic, and what real accountability should look like if you want to rebuild your life and your integrity as a man. Now, guys, welcome to the Rebuilt Man podcast. My name is Coach Frank Rich, host and founder here, and it's been our mission for the last 6 years to help men just like you, those caught up in the depths of pornography addiction, take back control, reclaim their identity, rebuild their marriages, and step into a life of absolute freedom. If you're new to the podcast, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you're watching this on YouTube, please make sure to turn those post notifications on so you are notified every single time a new episode is released. But first, what we need to understand is, why does this happen? Because most men do this have good intentions. The first reason is simple, though. Your wife is the person most affected by your addiction. She's the one who has experienced the broken trust. So a man naturally thinks, if I'm going to be accountable to anyone, it should be to her. And while that might seem honorable on the surface, it creates some major problems that most men don't ever see coming. The second reason men do this is because they're afraid to talk to other men. For many guys, it feels easier to say, my wife knows, than it does to say, I've opened up to another man about my struggle. But the reality is, many men heal differently when they are in brotherhood with other men. And the third reason this happens is because modern recovery culture oftentimes recommends it. You'll hear things like, let your wife check your phone, give her your passwords, let her monitor your devices. But while those things might create temporary transparency, they also create a relationship dynamic that slowly starts to break down, which brings us to the real issue. The 4 ways that this damages your marriage. When your wife becomes your accountability partner, 4 things begin to happen inside this relationship. The first problem is this: your wife becomes your supervisor. Instead of being your partner, she becomes the person monitoring your behavior. She's checking your phone, she's checking your browsing history, asking you if you've slipped. Now think about that dynamic for a second. No woman wants to feel like the parole officer to her own husband. Marriage was never meant to function like that. The second problem is that it destroys sexual polarity. Attraction inside of relationships thrives on leadership and respect. But the moment your wife feels like she has to manage your behavior, she stops experiencing you as the man that she can admire. She starts feeling like she has to mother you. And when a wife begins to feel like the mother to her husband, all attraction begins to die. Now, the third problem is that this puts emotional pressure on her that she should never have to carry. Your wife is dealing with the pain of your addiction already. She's already dealing with a broken trust, but now she also has to feel responsible for managing your recovery. And that burden was never meant to be hers to belong to carry in the first place. And the fourth problem is the one that most men never see coming. It actually encourages hiding instead of honesty. Because when your wife is your accountability partner, relapse feels like a devastating betrayal. So instead of being honest, many men will just continue to go away and hide, which keeps the addiction alive. And that's why we have to rethink what accountability actually looks like. Now, your wife absolutely has a role in your recovery journey, but that role is not managing your behavior. Your wife should be your partner, walking beside you in life that you're building together. She should be someone you are rebuilding trust with. Trust is rebuilt through consistency, through discipline, through integrity, and through, most importantly, leadership, not surveillance. Your wife should also be a witness to your transformation. She should see the man that you're becoming, the discipline, the growth, the integrity, but she should never feel like she is responsible for enforcing any of it. Because when a man takes responsibility for his own transformation, his wife doesn't have to carry that burden anymore. So if your wife shouldn't be your accountability partner, then what actually works? Well, real accountability requires structure. It requires brotherhood. It requires identity transformation. But another way to understand this is through what we call the 3 levels of accountability. If you want to really change your life, you need all 3 of these. The first level is self-accountability. This is the foundation. Self-accountability means becoming the man who can keep his own word. The man who does what he says he's going to do, even when no one is watching, even when no one would know if he didn't. Because the first level of accountability is always the man that's looking back in the mirror. Now, the second level here is peer accountability. This is where real brotherhood comes in. You need other men in your life who understand this struggle, men who challenge your excuses, men who ask you the hard questions, because men confess differently to other men than they do to their wives. When other men, there's honesty, there's directness, there's no fear of hurting them emotionally. Now, the third level of accountability is expert level accountability. This is where your real transformation can begin to accelerate, because someone who has walked the path before and helped hundreds or thousands of men do the same can guide you through the traps that keep most men stuck. When you have all 3 levels working together, self-accountability, peer accountability, and expert accountability, that's when real change can begin to happen. Now, one of the biggest lies modern men believe is they're supposed to fight their battles alone. But throughout history, men were never meant to live that way. Men had tribes, brotherhood, mentorship, discipleship. Today, many men have none of those things. They have isolation, they have secrecy, and they have a phone in their pocket giving them unlimited access to temptations. And that's why porn addiction thrives in isolation. But freedom thrives through brotherhood. When men come together, when they tell the truth, when they challenge each other, that's where real transformation begins to take place. Now, this is exactly why we built and created the Rebuilt Man Brotherhood. Inside this community, men get access to real accountability with other men. They get daily structure, they get proven frameworks, and they get coaching from men who have already walked this path before them. And something amazing happens when a man steps into that kind of environment. His wife no longer has to carry the weight of trying to fix the problem. Instead, she begins to experience something much more powerful. She begins to experience the man that he is becoming, a man of discipline, a man of integrity, a man who leads his life instead of hiding from it. So if you're hearing this right now and your wife has been your accountability partner, I want you to hear this very clearly. Your wife should not be responsible for managing your recovery. She should be your partner in the life that you are building together, the life of the man that you are becoming, a man that she can trust again, a man that she can respect again, and a man who leads his life with integrity. Now, if you're ready to take the first step towards becoming that man, I want to invite you to join us inside the free 7-day porn reset and get a behind-the-scenes look at the Rebuilt Man Brotherhood free for 7 days. This is where we help real men break the cycle. In 7 days, you can rewire your habits and step into the identity of a rebuilt man. To join us for free, all you have to do is visit therebuiltman.com/7-day reset or click the link down there in the show notes below and get started today. But brother, you don't have to fight this battle alone anymore. And the man that you were created to become is waiting on the other side of this journey for you. All you have to do is click the link below, and I'll see you on the inside.